Hello, rock and rollers. Rock and roll! Welcome to the 37th ElectroJet Rock Show. I'm Jett, and we're doing great or not so great. And tonight we're going to be doing it on Guns N' Roses. And I have with me, coming to you from LA, my esteemed co-host, the Professor.
Welcome back, rock and rollers. Get ready to rock. Hey, thanks for coming along with us on the rock and roll ride. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Need your support. And share us with your friends on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media sites. Really appreciate it.
Oh Christ! I'm not trying to talk for clapping.
Yeah, remember when Guns N' Roses was on pirate radio and they played that "Don't Cry" song? Don't cry for about 30 seconds.
I do remember that. Pirate radio was a hard rock station in L.A.
Right,
and they kind of played more of the cutting edge, like metal stuff. And I do remember hearing that. And it was kind of like, who's this guy pretending he's Ozzy or something? A little, but, they had a hard edge to them. So I listened. I gave them a shot.
Yeah. So what do you think? Great or not so great? Guns N' Roses.
I'd have to say great. Again, I'm trying not to pick necessarily my favorite bands, but I'm just trying to evaluate, is this a great band? And, you look at how big they were in the 90s and how many records they sold and how many big stadium concerts they played, how many fans they had, how much songs they had on the radio. And I don't like all their songs. For me, I think probably on some of those albums, not all of them, there's some filler songs or, stuff that just, really shouldn't have been on there. But they had enough big hits, big name songs that you hear all the time that you still hear today. You got to say they're great. And, Slash, he's a talented guitar player. And Axl Rose is not always my cup of tea, but I got to say he's talented. He's got some range and, he's also got the rock and roll attitude.
Yeah, but is that range? Is it a real range? It's kind of a... Is that a real voice? Is that a real...
I agree. I kind of agree with you there. I have to agree with you there. But I don't know if it's enough to say that they're not great. But, songs like... I really like Civil War. I think that's a great song. Paradise City, I'm a little tired of it, but it's a great song.
Paradise City, man. That's I think my favorite one.
Same with Sweet Child of Mine. They do a good version of Knocking on Heaven's Door, which obviously they didn't write.
Oh.
And they did that. Yeah, and Don't Cry and Perfect Crime and, some of those songs. Night
The first
Train.
album obviously is a masterpiece. After that, I do like... You could be mine, but you
Hey, Jett, how does Night Train go again?
I'm on the night train. Love that stuff. See, how hard is it to sing like that? It's very easy in my. I don't have the greatest range, but Axl, he's using his head voice like that, and got to hand it to him. He made it sound authentic, and people liked it. It sounded rock and roll. It was sort of a faux Robert Plant or something like that on the high notes, and then he's really a baritone. He's really more of a ow no no. He has more of actually a lower range. Actually, you know what? It's a really good one is "Welcome to the Jungle."
That's a good song too. Yeah, it's another one.
And it's got that. That was actually the first one that came out when they broke on the Geffen Records label. That was the first one that came out. It has that sort of almost like kind of Sweet Emotion Aerosmith style riff to it. Yeah, Welcome to the Jungle. It had that iconic guitar delay intro thing, which is a great riff. Yeah, Slash is friggin' great. I love Slash's playing and his tone. He's a super Michael Schenker fan, like the rest of us, pretty much. But it has that almost like that Jeff Beck kind of Aerosmith it's almost like, which is a cool riff, you know. But the thing with them is that I remember when pirate radio came on in L.A., they had all the old standby stale L.A. rock and roll stations that went back to the late 60s, like KLOS and maybe I don't know if KMET was still around then. I don't know if KMET was still around, but and they weren't playing anything cool. So in a way, it's like I think Guns N' Roses made that radio station because they had 4 singles off it that they were playing, and I don't know if Guns between that and MTV, you know, maybe that record might not have been so big. But I do love the band. I like Duff's bass playing. He's no Chris Squire, but that's all right. He's perfect for the what he plays is perfect for the band. Izzy Stradlin wrote some really good songs. I like the original band, of course. That once they started thinning it out with other people and adding it, it just wasn't. It's not the same. But the original Guns, I'm going to say great. Steven Adler, you know, he's no Ian Pace, but actually he was really cool. He had a great vibe, and the girls loved the way he looked. He had the rock star vibe. They all look cool. They got a big push from Geffen Records. Yeah, Izzy Stradlin song. I love the "You Could Be Mine," and then that other one on Use Your Illusion. I'm not sure which one, or number 1 or number 2. Pretty tied up, upside down. That Pretty Tied Up song, man. That's a great song, man. Izzy, you know, he may have been maybe the main writer. So once he wasn't in the band anymore and they replaced him with other guys, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah. I would also say that, you know, you kind of got to say stylistically that they had a big hand in moving rock away from kind of like the glam metal look more to kind of almost like a biker look, you know, more denim and that kind of thing. You know, I think that I would say they had at least a partial hand in that. They were glam. They were glam before the Guns band.
Axl had another band, and they were like fully glammed out. I think it was L.A. Guns, actually.
It was, yeah. And they were glammed out, but, you know, Guns N' Roses, at least, maybe in the beginning, yeah, they were still a little glammy, but pretty shortly after that, they kind of went for a different look, and everybody kind of followed suit, especially
Axl says when he first got off the bus from Indiana, he was wearing his cowboy boots, and everybody said, "You look like you just got off the bus." But the funny thing is, because they were a cool, hip band and they broke big, all of a sudden, what was not a hip look, they made the hip look. So now, you know, everybody was following them, and I'm a big fan of people who are ahead of the curve. So I got to give them a lot of props for that. Anytime you set the trend instead of following it, yeah, you're doing something really good.
Yeah, you got to say, I mean, you know, they were selling out huge arenas, you know, all over for, you know, quite a while through the 90s. They were huge. So I would have to say Guns N' Roses, great.
I'm going to say great. At least the first album. But without the other guys, not so much.
Yeah.
And when they didn't have Steven and Izzy, not so much, even though they had they always hired a lot of great players.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I would definitely agree with that, actually. And agree again also that first albums I like, and then, you know, as time goes on, you know, I don't really like a lot of the material on some of those. But, you know, that's going to be with any band. It's hard to constantly put out fantastic stuff, 10 albums.
Well, that's what makes the really, really elite, phenomenal bands phenomenal. Is when they can do it. When they can do like a 4-record stretch.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough to come up with that great, iconic material over and over again like that. Just putting out one album with one song, stuff. So.
Oh, no.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
This is Jett signing off with
the Professor and
Rock and Roll.
Rock and Roll.